Welcome to You Ought to Watch This Movie, the podcast about movies from the first decade of the 2000s, aka the aughts. Follow along and explore a movie from the aughts, getting unbridled opinions from two millennials. Sit back, relax, and enjoy one of the best decades in movies.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome back.
You usually test my voice before.
I know, but I had the levels from before.
Oh.
It's Yadam. It
You
is.
ought to watch this movie.
Yeah,
That's
and what
this
movie
podcast is
are we ought to watching this time?
This movie is called The Next Best Thing. It is from 2000, of course, because we are in that year. I don't think I need to say it every time, but this was released March 3rd, 2000. And now is your disclaimer.
To silence your phones.
Well, yeah. To if you have not seen this movie, you should watch it. But I'm going to tell you that even before we started this podcast and I had my preliminary list of possible movies, this was on my list. And I was trying to see where we could watch all these things, knowing that, yes, if they were on a streaming service, they may not be there when we get to it. But this is not on a streaming service, and you cannot rent it on Amazon, at least not where we are. So I don't know if other parts of the country you can, or other parts of the world.
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
But so I had to buy the DVD, and that's pretty expensive on Amazon too. So I got a used copy at a bookstore here that sells, used items. So anyway, just because I just thought that was so weird. It's nowhere, and even costly to purchase on Amazon. So anyway, that's your disclaimer. I hope that you're able to watch the movie.
Well, the long disclaimer.
And this is also rated PG-13, so it's not like, too inappropriate.
Well, that's a good thing. So, are we moving on to the trailer report or
Yes.
the summary?
Oh, I'll do the summary.
Cool.
Abbie and Robert are best friends who become unlikely parents. This is a snapshot of their unconventional American family.
Very unconventional. Well, I mean, not unconventional, just unconventional as to, say, it juxtaposed with the nuclear family. Mm-hmm. The mom, the pop.
Well, I said unconventional because of all of the drama that took place.
Yeah,
That's
was
unconventional.
unnecessary drama. Well, let's
For any family, it's unconventional.
let's move to the trailers.
Okay.
So,
You go first.
a rom-com with a young appearance by Neil Patrick Harris, ? I have not seen comedies from the Australian guy. Was he Australian or British?
I can tell you
Well, but
when we get to the actors.
But the woman who I could not ID was apparently Madonna. So shows you how much I know who people are.
Honestly, I wouldn't have been able to tell you either, except I read like the cast and the DVD box.
Of course you did.
So, I mean,
So they kind of have that going for them as well. That's what I say. It seems like this movie was also made to provide kids with the perspective of it's okay to have a step-parent.
yeah.
That's my trailer summary. What do you got?
I said there was no voiceover. The words on the screen were the voiceover.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could just picture somebody reading the words on the screen in between the little clips, it's a voiceover.
Yepers.
Oh, I already talked about how this wasn't available, and this was on my list from the beginning when I thought we may be doing rom-coms for our podcast. Also, I said this looks a little cheesy. We'll see.
Yeah, cheesy.
As opposed to corny.
Those are two odd selections, like, to describe corny or cheesy. Because if you think about corn, the food, it's like, kind of savory and also can be sweet, but so can cheese. Really makes you think.
I guess. So on to actors.
Okay, who do we got?
Well, the only actor that I knew was Neil Patrick Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we know who Madonna is, but honestly, I don't really know her. I just know of her, really.
I'm Madonna. That's all I know.
A Material Girl.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe
song.
that's reference to it. I don't know.
Do
For
you
some
know that
reason,
song, right?
Yes.
Oh.
I know the song. I'm trying to think of where I heard that I'm Madonna from.
Probably somebody impersonating her.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so your other question, the other lead person, well, Neil Patrick Harris was not a lead person. The lead male character his name's Rupert. Wait, hold on.
Rupert. Nah,
Rupert
sounds
Everett.
like an English name.
He is from the UK. Norfolk.
Norfolk. Well, from Norfolk.
I know, we say all those words wrong. Or different.
Or like we lived in the town of Norwich, Connecticut. Norwich.
How did he get in here?
Because the door's open.
I thought we closed that.
There is a cat attacking her chair right now.
I thought we usually close the door.
We usually do, but remember, Hank was still in here.
We were so is Paddington. He's in the closet. I thought we were just going to close the door and leave him in here.
Yeah, well,
That's what we did last time when Alice was in here.
I guess it wasn't closed enough because Hank must have opened it strategically. Percy, you act nice now. Don't interrupt. So, but as far as like Neil Patrick Harris, he was on How I Met Your Mother and various other shows and a game show at one point.
Yeah, he hosted a game show at one point, and he was Doogie Howser. That's how he got his.
I don't know who Doogie Howser.
He was a teenage doctor
Oh, okay.
in I don't know, the 80s.
Very neat.
That's how he got his start.
It wasn't until I want to say the 19-teens, maybe, or 20s, one or the other. I heard this recently, that if you wanted to be a doctor, you just had to say you were a doctor. But then the government got involved and said, no, you got to do X, Y, and Z.
Well, you can't just say you're a doctor and not know anything.
Yeah, you're right. Leads to people getting all sorts of poisoning in historic times. So, who else?
That's all.
Okay. Well, my first vibe was very, thinking about the movie, what's the macho word for ladies?
The macho word for ladies.
Yeah, you know how guys are macho. Is it wacho?
Oh, I don't. Would we say tomboy? I mean,
No, I'm saying, movies are macho in the sense that, it's all guy driven, and then this one's girl driven.
chick flick.
Sure.
I don't know.
Anyways, I just got the overwhelming sense of, not bad girl power, but girl power nonetheless.
Okay.
What do you want me to go through all mine?
No, not all of them.
All right, well, go on.
The first thing on my list is when we popped in the DVD and
Oh,
the disclaimer screen. And I said, look, Miles, it's like the Star Trek TNG DVDs. It's the same background. The Paramount background.
It's a conspiracy not to have to reuse all of the,
Well, it was around the same time that those
Yeah.
DVDs came out. Because those started coming out in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Or they all came out. I guess, yeah, they all came out at the same time.
How very intriguing.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat.
The opening song, I don't know what it was. It wasn't like some pop song, but it seemed like it was from the aughts. But although this was filmed in 99,
1999, yeah.
maybe we should have started with 01 because those would have been filmed in 2000.
Ooh. Well, we're already so far in. I mean, we're only in, March? Well, okay.
We're getting pickier.
Yeah. So, one thing I noticed was the old tech alert. The freaking flip phones.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I don't know, I'm sure everyone remembers the Nokia bricks. Well, I
think that was our first cell phone.
I recently saw a picture of one of those old Nokia bricks with the, clear front and leather case on the sides. And the comment was, the case was made to protect the other object because those things were so indestructible.
Okay. So what was it protecting if not the phone?
It was protecting the floor, whatever you dropped it on.
Oh.
But did I don't know if I told you this story, but Daniel, who greeted us whenever we moved to Connecticut, I was walking in the mall with him, and I asked him because I had the Navy duty phone, and it was this flip phone, but it was like this really thick, durable, and I didn't think of it at the time, but I said, why do they make these things so clunky? And he took it from me, and we were on the second floor, and he threw it down, and he said, that's why. Because they're indestructible.
Yeah.
I'm like, great, now we gotta go retrieve it.
I don't know if we should give a short play-by-play of the movie, because if people aren't able to watch it, I wonder if it's on YouTube.
I don't know.
If you can pay to watch it on YouTube.
Maybe that's where we should have looked as well.
Now.
So
I already bought the DVD though.
I know. And YouTube probably doesn't have this. Well, maybe it does have the special features. Yeah.
I wonder what the special features are. We should have watched them.
Yeah.
For this.
Oh, but also they had Kevin's U.S. doppelganger in here from This Is Us.
He thinks he looked like Kevin. I don't think he did. Just because he has a cleft chin doesn't mean that he looks like Kevin.
Well, from afar, he looked like Kevin. And I can see people getting confused. We're talking about Justin Hartley, right?
Yeah.
I got his name right.
Good job.
Also, whenever, they're sitting there figuring out, and again, spoiler alert, is, whenever she finds out she's pregnant, she gets out her book calendar. And she's checking her calendar. Instead of getting out your phone, you got out the physical calendar.
Yeah. A lot of my comments are, so far I'm a little bored. Halfway through, still bored. This needs more comedy. The yoga scene was interesting. I'm still bored. It's too much like real life with no comedy. Yeah.
That's depressing.
It was a little boring.
The comedy that I found in there, and this is my... Go on. What were you going to say before?
That's all.
You had something.
No. Well, I have more, but that's all right.
All right. The comedy that I wrote down as my next are the multiple meanings of the word faggot. Which I guess that's not a cool word to say now.
It's never been a cool word to say.
Well, I mean, it's like in Australia, they call, in England, how they call each other blokes. Mm-hmm. They call each other cunts in Australia.
Oh.
It's so weird.
Well, it's not appropriate here. So now we have to put an explicit on our episode.
That's okay. I'm just saying, the weirdness of language, it's like, so anyway, they're, because the main guy, what's his name?
Robert.
Robert is a gay man. And, I have an interesting comment, but I'll get to that later. And they're now couple. How old is he at this point?
I don't know, because she said, I'm not 24 anymore whenever, at the beginning. And he's like, I'm not 34 anymore. Like, so he has to be older than that.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Like, no, the kid, 5 years old.
Oh, yeah. He was turning 6. I thought you meant...
I meant the kid.
But he was actually... And I thought he looked like he was like 7 or 8. And he was like 7 instead of... I guess it's only 1 year. But a year is a lot when you're that young, because... You
grow. But anyway, so he's... one of his friends says... someone told me your dad's a faggot. And then they say, and he says, well, what's that mean? And he gives some, I don't remember the explanation specifically, but, about like him being gay. But then the little girl there says, well, I don't know. That's what my dad calls people who cut him off in traffic. And I'm like, yeah, that's golden.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, so Abbie, one of the main characters, she was a yoga teacher, and the vibe I got from this yoga studio, although she was very welcoming, but like it reminded me of like old school yoga, and probably the kind that Erin Motz was trying to get away from when she made Bad Yogi, like all of the and doing all these poses in the beginning before you're even warmed up. That didn't make sense to me. Like they're already holding their toe and like doing all these things when like their hamstrings aren't stretched out yet.
It seems dangerous.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But I thought that was cool, because I really like yoga, if you didn't know. So
imagine that. You liking yogurt? Who would have guessed it?
Well, some of our audience may not know a lot about us,
Oh, okay.
Who knows?
So Colin's into yoga.
Yeah.
What else you got?
This was a nice movie overall, but it was weird. I mean, I do understand the concept of, family not having to be your blood relatives, but I don't know. It was just kind of boring and sad, and just it needed more comedy, like Modern Family.
Yeah, it definitely needed comedy. So the crux of the story after this kid, gets X years old, and
actually, we didn't even tell the beginning of the story. So
it's going to develop into what I'm saying.
Okay, fine.
So you got this gay guy and this straight girl living together because they hooked up at one point and had a kid, and they this will come into play later, but she apparently didn't tell him that, this isn't your blood relative, but that's regarding something later on.
Well, she only found out when he was 3,
so
when he had a tonsillectomy.
Yeah, but the crux of it is she starts dating, and basically wants to marry this guy. And he has an offer for a position in New York. And she's like, well, I want to move with him. And that's when things get just weird. Like, I'm sorry, it's like, you're a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs if you just, shovel everything out of your, place and then flee away with your new guy to a brand new place. Or a brand new house.
Yeah, and did they buy that house? Or were they renting it? Like, how did that...
They had an Airbnb.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah, an old school Airbnb. They were squatters. We'll go with that. They were squatters. I don't know.
Just like, how did that happen? Because it's not like he had like
A place ready because he was, there temporarily, and then he was leaving.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There was a hole in that, but then it just goes through the process of him trying to fight.
Robert trying to fight
for this kid, or custody of the kid, or joint custody of the kid. Oh man, it's like,
and
what?
then he gets the biological father involved, that person that Miles thought looked like Justin Hartley, and his name was Kevin, coincidentally, in this movie. Which was funny since Justin Hartley played Kevin on This Is Us.
Yeah,
but like he got him involved, and then he didn't want to help him, but then he came and he wanted rights.
Like, I'm just going to show up to court. You know what? I'll have rights. Ah.
And after all of that, Abbie's fiance doesn't take the position in New York, and they're just there, and then it's like,
now this father,
everything happened for no reason.
Yeah.
He could have just stayed in the
right, and then this father has, to have no custody. Up until like the end credits rolling, you find out that Kevin, the bio dad, decided to have a paper sign releasing his claim on the kid, so Robert could adopt him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like all of this is happening. And I mentioned the, gay part that I was going to come back to is this movie. I didn't care that, Robert was gay. It wasn't pushed in my face. In fact, one of the funnier comments, or one of the funnier moments, happened because of the stylistic comedy with him being gay as an additive, i.e. he was at that place, and after they hooked up and they wrecked the place, and then the couple walks in, and they think they've been robbed, and it sounded like something Pepper from Modern Family would say, "Oh my God, we've been robbed." And well, anyways, but all of that to say, during the courtroom scene is like the mother's attorney is questioning him. It's like, oh, blah 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 blah. And then brings him being gay into it, which is inconsequential to anything. But then they make I don't know how they lead to the comment. Are you going to show him porn? Are you going to talk about your sexuality? And the guy, Robert, said, he's 6. And I'm like, man, wouldn't that be nice if everyone, abided by that reality? They're 6 years old. Leave them alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But what else we got?
I don't know. I've said everything I had. I didn't really have a lot of comments. I told you my comments. It was a little boring, and I had higher hopes for this movie.
You had high hopes. I don't know what song that is. Fall Out Boy, right?
No, Panic at the Disco.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, I'm not good at humming it. But anyways, I know what it is.
Yes, we know. So, I don't know. Is it time to grade it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, I gave it an 83.
Really?
Yes, because I looked back at other movies. I guess I stay in the 80s too much, like with my.
It's safe for you. It's safe in the sense that, okay, you're not giving it too low a grade, but you're not giving it too high of a grade.
I mean, because that's how I do with books too. They either get 3 or 4 stars usually. 5 is reserved for like an unforgettable book.
Oh, wow. We have a cat in our presence.
This is why we close the door, usually.
Yeah, well, you just make an appearance on every show. So I give it an 81. And the reason being is I liked the various comedy around it, and I enjoyed the characters. They weren't overbearing or, look at me, LGBTQ, whoa, oh my God, my position is better than your position. It was genuine, like real stuff that I'd imagine families deal with.
Yeah. Before we get off, before we stop the podcast, I needed to see. I forgot to look up this guy, the fiance guy, because.
Oh yeah, he looked familiar. I don't know what else he's in. I feel like he's in an action movie or something. And do we have it? Oh, you should have seen her face.
But we're on camera.
I know. So you better be watching this. If you're on Spotify or Apple, go watch it so you can see it.
He's from Modern Family. Guess who he is on Modern Family?
Oh.
He looks slightly different.
Who?
Manny's dad.
Oh my God. Yes. You're right. That is hilarious.
IMDb's right. I would never have gotten that. I thought he looked like
Manny's dad.
I don't know.
What a trashy loser. Okay. Well, very cool. Well, I think that about caps us off for today. But we will be back in 2 weeks with the latest of You Want to Watch This Movie.
Yes, we will.
Until then.
I'm Colin.
And I'm Miles. And this has been You Ought to Watch. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to You Ought to Watch This Movie, a podcast about movies from the first decade of the 2000s, aka the aughts. Be sure to subscribe for new episodes covering movies you ought to watch. We'll see you next time.